Shalom, 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 shalom.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
All right, all right. Get this. Getting ready to start the lesson. All right. Shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, giving infinite praises, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, by Hashem, rawchaa, by Hashem, qadash. Giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom and salutation to all you sincere active across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. I'm your fellow servant, Kassam God from the DC camp, coming at you through the spirit and power of Yahawah by Hashem, rawchaa by Hashem, qadash, and feed the elect. So, Lord willing, this is going to be a quick one. Through the spirit, got to be in plantation soon, but definitely want to put this out. Of course, man, we living in some crazy, interesting time. Great times to be honest. It's gonna get a little scary for sure. The heartbeat is gonna beat a lot faster. Well, some of the things that we getting ready to witness. But as we know, the elect of Yahawah by Hashem Shad, the 144,000 and the remaining of the 1/3 will be okay. All right, we're gonna be taken care of, but it's not gonna be a smooth ride. The reality is, it's not going to be a smooth ride. This is indeed the end of the world. So we're gonna witness the most evil humanity has ever really done on the planet Earth, and you're gonna see Esau at its peak of wickedness and brutality. So in this lesson, we want to talk about the mindset. That's right, the brother already put that out. We're gonna go into that. Shalom to you, bro. Shalom Taz, Yahawah. But yeah, just the mindset. There's a certain mindset we got to start to have. I was just having a conversation yesterday with one of the brothers in the camp, and we was talking about different things and how relationships kind of go, and relationship women, of course, and all that other stuff. And I was just telling him, man, like, I'm in this place where, man, like things are really gonna like shift, and you got to get to a place where you kind of pretty much done playing those games, right? Playing the boyfriend games, the relationship games, the husband and wife game, because it is kind of a theater, it's a game. And not to say that it's not something that that's not natural. It's a natural thing, but we about to enter into some unnatural times, and some of those affections can become a problem. So we have to shift the mindset towards the level of evil and that's gonna arise upon the earth. So I was just telling him, man, I'm just done. Like the whole boyfriend, girlfriend, getting women, all this other playing those games and attitudes and distractions. Like I've really cut out a lot of shit, man. And you can say, well, getting older plays a role into that, but also understanding, man, that it's about to really go down. Like it's really about to go down, and you're gonna go from with everything that's going on right now. You're gonna go from a house with heat, a house with heat, and just recently, like just taking every single hot bath, a warm bath that I take right now. Like I think about it, like damn man, like I'm gonna let me enjoy these last moments of having access to warm showers. When it's cold, I can just go in and turn a warm shower. Let me enjoy all these little things that we take for granted, man, because the spirit of the Lord is just hopping on me heavy to like kind of basically say goodbye to the so-called good old days, man, because it's pretty, it's going to shift and it's going to change and it's going to get really brutal out here, man. With everything that's going on, we entering into the beginning stages of what's going to become the third world war. But prior to that, we know that all societies, not just in Babylon, all societies across the world have to collapse. The economy is going to collapse. The infrastructure is going to collapse. Running water, food in the stores, all these different things are going to collapse, and people are going to lose their minds. And the government is going to have to do something about it. And the move that they're going to do is suppressing the people, and that's when they're going to do something that all governments have always done throughout the history of humanity. This is nothing new. It's called opening up the gulags. All right, aka internment camps. The gulags. When you go to AI mode, the gulag. It says the term gulag, Russian, or whatever that is an acronym of Glavnoyi Upravlenie. All right, this is Russian. La Legire. All right, so that's what the gulag means. It means which translates to the main administration of corrective labor camps. All right, every institution, every nation have had labor camps or gulag. The United States had internment camps or gulags in World War II against when Japan Pearl Harbor, when Japan attacked, and basically America grabbed all Japanese, everybody of Japanese descent, and put them in labor camps. Right? Why? Because they feared that they could be potential enemies and turn into the United States and be enemies within. Right? Remember the whole enemies without and enemies within. So when this thing hits, the Constitution is going to go out the window. It's going to be about human survival. It's going to be about matters of national security. Everything that we've done as Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, everything we've claimed, like we've claimed our nationality, that is a threat to national security. That is a threat to the rulership of the Edomites. So therefore, a lot of it's going to be, including the nations as well. It's not just going to be the nation of Israel. If you get caught up and your destiny is to end up in a camp, you're going to get cooped up. Like you're gonna be in one of those camps, right? Because it actually you have about way over 800, 800 plus. You have 800 plus internment camps across the U.S. You can look that up yourself if you don't believe. Look that up, and you also have places like stadiums, football stadiums, baseball stadiums, hockey stadiums. All these different stadiums are also going to turn into temporary internment camps. All right. So yeah, and they're going to continue to build more camps as this thing continues to unravel. All right, it's going to be a state of emergency, and so the mindset has to shift towards preparation of that moment. Because just because the Lord is going to be with you doesn't mean that you're going to have a smooth ride. Doesn't mean you're going to have hot shower when everybody else is, when there is no hot shower. I mean, you magically going to get a hot bath. Nah, the Lord doesn't give a damn about that. So all these different things, man, we're not going to have these things. We have to prepare for that. All right, it says, while originally referred to the Soviet government agency established in 1930 to manage the prison system, it has since become the common name for the vast network of forced labor camps used by the Soviet Union to imprison political. That's the thing. To what? Why do you have the use of gulags? The main use is to imprison political descendants and criminals. All right, so um, under the War Powers Act, uh, the government can deem anybody to be a criminal or so-called terrorist, and yeah, and political like us, our belief is against the political belief of Babylon the Great, right? So we will be political. We are political dissent, because political goes back to politics, which goes back to policies, which policies goes back to laws, meaning the laws, statutes, commandments that we follow against the policies or the laws of Babylon. So therefore, Esau is going to make sure to either get rid of us, but through a process, put us in internment camps. Not all of us are going to be in internment camps, right? Some of us are going to have um, the Book of Eli journeys, Children of Men. Then others you're gonna have V for Vendettas. Others is gonna be, you're gonna be on some Mad Max scenario, which you're not gonna be a cannibal, but you're gonna witness cannibal. You're gonna be surrounded. You're gonna see these. You're gonna see humanity fall to its lowest level ever. So we all gonna witness different things. This is really for the brothers but you don't know what your course is gonna be, so you have to be kind of prepared mentally for anything to go down, right? It says historical significance, system of repression. All right, it's repressed. It says developed primarily under Joseph Stalin. Yep, Joseph Stalin. The Gulag was a tool of state terror used to eliminate enemies of the people. So when society unravels, the economy collapses, and Edom Esau brings forth the new economy, the digital currency the MOTB, right? Mark of the beast, known as what? The RFID microchip. Well, if you refuse that, the scripture says in Revelation 15, it says if you refuse that, then guess what? You're gonna be it's because it's gonna be decreed, so you're gonna be an enemy of the people. You're gonna be an enemy of the people, so therefore you're gonna be a political criminal, a political descendant. So you have to be looked at, repressed, and put into a concentration camps, an internment camp, or also known as a gulag. And you're not going to have hot baths in gulags. You're not going to have well cooked food in gulags. All right. It's going to be atrocious. The food is going to be atrocious. For us Israelites, more than half of the shit that they're going to bring, if you in that shit, it's probably not going to be unlawful. Right? They're going to be feeding people swine and all kinds of, bullshit, escargot, right? You can't eat none of that shit, right? But it's gonna be crazy in that, man. So going from ordering food, Uber Eats and all that to going out driving, ordering some food, cooking food. You're not gonna have your own private stove. You're not gonna have none of these things. You're not gonna have a warm, cozy bed like me. I got a good bed. I put some money on that. I don't have a lot, but I got a good one. And every night now I look at like, hey man, like, let me just enjoy the softness because I know it's gonna be some concrete. If again, I'm not jinxing myself, but I don't, it really matter. If I happen to be in a gulag, at least I'll be like, hey man, be ready for that fucking concrete, man. You know, it's gonna be tough. It says the Gulag was a tool of state terror used to eliminate enemies of the people, including political rivals, intellectuals, and even ordinary citizens accused of petty crimes or anti-Soviet jokes. All right, so freedom of speech is going to be taken away. Right, so if you speak the truth, you're going to be an enemy. Let's get that in Isaiah 59 and 15 in the Bible, Old Testament. It says, yes, this is actually in the NLT, Isaiah 59 and 15. It says, yes, truth is gone. All right, truth is gone out of the land, and anyone who renounces evil is attacked. So when you renounce evil in these days, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be persecuted. All right. The Lord looked and was displeased to find there was no justice. So what's coming down to earth? The Lord is really going to be displeased, but the Lord is just, he set it up as a pathway to the kingdom, right? The path to the kingdom is full of thorns. All right, it's a thorny road, man, to the pearly, quote unquote, pearly gates. It's a thorny road, man. Ain't none of us gonna get to that finish part without any scratches. You're gonna have scratches, you're gonna have bumps and bruises, you might have missing limbs. You know what I'm saying? Like this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is the big one, the big competition, the final exam basically. And nobody is gonna get through this unscathed. All right. And the fact, it's not gonna be a smooth ride. Now when you look up the word persecution, and etymology, it says oppression for the holding of a belief or an opinion. All right. So believing that you're a Hebrew Israelite, believing in the name of yahawah, man, understand that you have to put your life on that because Esau's going to come for it. He's going to come for your life. Like Satan told the Heavenly Father in Job, the second chapter, that skin for skin. For everything that a man has, he would, give that up to save his life. He would betray and commit treason to save his life. So Satan believes that at the end of the day, if he threatens your life, what I'm saying, you're gonna chicken out. So it says oppression for the holding of a belief or opinion, persecution, damage, affliction, suffering. All right. So that's what's coming down the pipe. So we have to shift the mindset slowly. Now, I'm not sitting here and say, well, be as if all hell is broken loose because we don't know what it's like. All right. We don't know what it's like to be in a situation in a state where all hell is broken loose. We envision, right? We kind of try to prepare for it mentally, but you don't really know, all right? Because you never really experienced it. But at least what you can do is start to relinquish and start to kind of like say goodbye to the soft days, man. Slowly but surely start cutting off and and not relying so much and just enjoy the last moments, man, of these soft things, these things that are readily available. All right, because a lot of us are gonna be in the gulags, a lot of us gonna be in peculiar situations. All right. Brutal conditions. Inmates face extreme cold. You see that? Extreme cold. I ain't gonna be no AC in the gulags, man. Extreme cold, starvation, and grueling 14-hour work days. All right, so they're gonna put you to work. Gonna be breaking rocks and building shit. And then eventually it's just gonna get so bad, because eventually they're gonna try to re-educate everybody, and they're gonna want to give you what's called a capital, capital. They're gonna give capital punishment if you refuse an MOTB. Some Israelites are gonna refuse MOTB. Not only Israelites, you're also gonna have heathens. Not all the nations are gonna take it. You're gonna have people from the nations that they're gonna realize what's going on. They're not gonna take the MOTB. They're gonna take the blade. They're also gonna face the blade, right? So, but it doesn't matter because as a heathen, if you refuse an MOTB and you face the blade, it doesn't mean that you would, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're a child of God. It's just you made your decision and that's just it. It doesn't open up no gates of salvation because you refused an MOTB as a heathen. All right. It says, the blade, man, the guillotine. That's something that's going to be brought up. It's the United States. You could look that up, Google it. The United States purchased a multitude of guillotines a while back. I think it was back in 2011, something like that, during Obama regime. He purchased a lot of ammos and blades, a guillotine. It says the purpose of the guillotine. The guillotine is a historical machine designed for carrying out capital punishment by swift, efficient, and supposedly humane decapitation. Developed in France during the late 18th century and famously used during the French Revolution, it employed a heavy angle blade dropped between two upright posts to sever the head. So yeah. So it says the purpose it was designed to provide a quick, painless, and equal form of execution for all social classes, replacing more brutal, very drawn-out methods. The thing about the blade, man, is that it is a quick, painless death. It looks scary. That's why it's used. It's actually worse ways to go out than the blade. You're not gonna feel nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it just looks bad, man. That's the thing. It just looks bad. You know. But the blade is there. Another aspect of the blade is to divide, right? Divide goes back to the word shapat, which is judge. So if you have to put your head through the blade and it get cut off, that means that was a judgment that was passed, and the judgment that was passed is that you succeeded, you passed with an A grade, you stayed true to yahawah shah, even though you were being persecuted. Revelation 2:10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, gulags, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. For a certain period of time, you're going to be in the gulags. Some of us are already destined. We already got a spot reserved for us in the gulag. It's sad, but it's true. And then that's the type of mentality that you have to have. It's not that you lack faith. It's just you understand, what you're a part of. You understand what you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? I know, man. Hey, hell ain't. I know by the time this thing is over, I ain't gonna have my good old bed and my warm bath. I'm well aware of that. You know what I'm saying? And the way to constantly prepare for that is to just cut off a lot of distraction and bullshit, man. Because a lot of stuff we deal with right now, they're gonna be non-existent when society unravels, and it's gonna happen quick. A lot of this shit that's been set up is systematically set up. It's gonna go out quick, crazy. Like it's just gonna be like, oh, what happened to this? What happened to that? Gone. All right. So it says, "Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." All right. So yeah, if you get that blade, meaning you get to judgment, you will pass. That means you pass the test. So you don't look at that as failure. The Lord abandoned you and nothing like that. It was that's how you was going to pass the test. But then you're gonna have individuals that they're gonna be put out there, and the Lord gonna deliver them at the last minute, just like the Lord stopped Abraham from putting a blade to Isaac at the last minute. The Lord gonna do that. There's gonna be all types of situations, man. So we don't know exactly how our particular situation is gonna be, but at least have an image, right? an idea. That's what the word image means. An idea. It kind of prepares you psychologically to a certain extent. All right. So some of the things you're gonna deal with if you're in a gulag is what's that? Forced labor, prisoners. Well, no. That's I want to make sure uh the because I have a time set. Prisoners were used as cheap workforce to drive Stalin's rapid. Yeah. You can read that in the history. Brutal conditions. Inmates face extreme cold, starvation, and grueling 14-hour work days. Historians estimate that between 18 to 25 million people passed through the system, with roughly 1.6 deaths. Well, a lot of people just going off of just the conditions. So, like off of just the conditions, a lot of people are gonna die. You're gonna have the well known man with the hazmat suits. They're gonna come in and grab bodies, burn bodies, shit like that. It's gonna be wild, man. Just envisioning shit like that. It's gonna be wild. People dying of famine, women getting the women treatment. I ain't gonna say it. Children getting the children treatment, and some men gonna get that treatment as well. Just violation, man. There's gonna be violation on all kinds of violation, man, taking place. Humanity is gonna show its true colors. Before we rise up to the highest level of humanity, beginning with the nation of Israel, we're gonna see the lowest level of humanity, man. And it's gonna be really, really bad. It's gonna be bad, man. Cultural legacy. The horrors of the camps were brought to global attention by Alexander something landmark 1973 work, The Gulag Archipelago. All right. All right. So basically, yeah, that's it's the Gulag mindset, man. It's coming back, man. It's coming back. I can sense it. My spirit is telling me, because again, society is gonna unravel. Society is gonna unravel. So that's just a part of it. This is Second Ezra's chapter 16 verse 71. It says, "They shall be like mad men." Well, actually, I'm gonna start at 70. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next city a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord." Now, the word insurrection, it means an uprising against civil authority. Why would you have a uprising against civil authority? Well, you see what's going on right now. You see the lies and deception. A war. You got a war where 80% of the population, 70% of the population is against this war. 80 to 90% of the population want the Epstein files to be released. Marines getting their fucking hand broken for speaking the truth. So these things, the authorities, the tyranny is showing its face, right? Esau Edom, right? The dragon is showing its teeth, and then like the average Babylonian is like, yo, what's going on here? And they've been trying to wait it out. They thought Trump Nero was gonna be their savior, and come to find out, Trump was always on the Rothschild payroll and under Israel's subjection, the state of Israel's subjection, and Bibi. So now the people realizing that they're gonna have to have an uprising. I know because they talk about it. Conservative radio talking about they don't want to do this, but they feel like that's where they leading towards. Um, liberals are talking the same talk, like this is where it's going to lead to. So at least you got one thing that those two agree with. They hate each other. They're going to be killing each other, but then a portion of them are going to be heading for the authorities. So it's going to be a total massacre. It's going to be total chaos, and Israel is going to get caught up because a lot of Israelites are caught up into the politics of Esau. They're going to be playing that game. That Hunger Game. And then you have Israelites that are not caught up in it. They're just regular 2/3. They're going to be caught up in a mess. And then you have the elect of the nation of Israel. We, hopeful elect, the Lord is going to send his angels to protect us and wherever we are, us and our families, man. That's just how it's going to go down. Insurrection, and uprising against civil authority. All right. Uprising against civil authority. So you're going to have that. Let's go to this is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, with guns in their hands. It's not talking about actual kitchen knives and shit. We're talking about guns, big guns. All right. For there shall be sedition among men, sedition. Sedition means rebellion, uprising, revolt, fictitious commotions in the state. All right. In every state is going to be total chaos. All right. Concerted attempt to overthrow civil authority, violent strife between factions, civil or religious disorder, riot, rebelliousness against authority. All right. Verse 16, 2 Ezra 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings. When you look up kings right there, it means governors, right? City governors, state governors, kings, princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning they're going to come in there, bust up into the politicians' homes with big guns, and they're going to handle their business. These are the type of things we're going to see. And then you have Democrats handling their business against Republicans and vice versa. Israel's going to get caught up in there. You're going to have also racial wars that's going to be a part of that. So a big explosion. And that's going to force the government to do this. Let me get this preset, make sure I got Jeremiah 50, 16. Jeremiah 50, verse 16. For all that chaos, the government has to do something about it, right? Jeremiah 50, 16, because the government's got the bigger guns. The people got big guns, the government's got bigger guns. Jeremiah 50, verse 16. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, that's the military coming down, the Northern Command, the peacekeepers, the blue hats, right? For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people. So you're gonna have a group of people before martial law get their tickets and get the fuck up out of here. Some of our northern tribes, and they're gonna cross the border back from Texas back to Mexico, all that, and then you're gonna have a group that's just gonna get with their people. All right, you mean they own nation. Nations gonna get with their nations, and they're gonna kind of create cliques, ethnic cliques. So yeah, the only thing that brought these nations, the 18 nations together in Babylon, was the money. Now that the money is taken away, the city is unraveling, chaos is going to erupt, right? So people going crazy. It says, fulfill the oppressing sword, they shall turn anyone to his people, and they shall flee one to his own land. The oppressing sword is that martial law. Martial law is going to be implemented, and people are going to get grabbed up and thrown in gulags, all right? People are going to be grabbed up and thrown in gulags. So that's going to be the response from the government. But the reason why, again, is because of this. It's Jeremiah chapter 51 and 44. It says, and I will punish Baal in Babylon, and I will bring forth out, I'm going to bring forth out of his mouth that which he has swallowed up, which is the nation of Israel, right? And the nations shall not flow together anymore unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall, right? The nations, the 18 nations that flew, that constantly came, that, immigration, right? That immigration is going to stop, man. Eventually when Babylon's destroyed, but when the martial laws came, nobody's coming in, nobody's leaving out doing martial law. And the Lord has said his thing is to remove what he has swallowed up, which is the nation of Israel, beginning with the tribe of Judah on down to Issachar, right? Verse 45, it says, my people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. Now, it's not talking about physically leaving, because we're gonna be stuck in. All this shit happens, we're gonna witness that. When it says by deliver ye, meaning remove yourself, that's why I say remove yourself from being used to this shit. The American lifestyle is about to be done with. All right. The high-end level lifestyle, the jewelries, the nice cars, the road, paved road, all this craziness, the lights, green lights, red lights, all these different things, all these things are going to systematically collapse, man. All right. So we have to get used to that. Yeah, well, say you have to prepare, because there's no, you got to prepare for that. 46, lest your heart faint. Verse 45, my people, go ye out in the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord, lest your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year, shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. All right, so that violence is civil unrest, man. We've been talking about it, man. It's been rumored, you know what I'm saying? And then eventually it's just gonna bust open, all right? And then eventually, the ultimate violence in the land is going to be nukes. But there's levels to this. First, you're going to have, the society unravel. And then the state is going to bring in what? The oppressing sword, which is the military. And then they're going to throw Jake in the gulags. All right, they're going to throw Jake in the gulag. So therefore, we go back to Second Ezra 16 and 71. They shall be like madmen. This is the oppressing sword. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. All right, meaning a lot of Israelites. All right, a lot of Israelites are going to be caught up, man. I think I looked up the word insurrection. Did I? Yep, I looked up the word. There you go. Uprising against civil authority. So let's get back. Um, Verse 32, for they shall waste and take away their goods. All right, these goods, these things that we are accustomed to, right? It's going to be thrown away, man. You're not going to have these things and cast them out of their houses. All right. So be prepared to not, at one moment you're going to leave your house and you'll never come back to your house. There's a high likelihood that, man, there's a 99% chance that if you happen to be one of the ones that get caught up, and you get put in those damn buses or whatever, they grab you, put you in a van, put you in a gulag. There's a 99% chance you ain't coming back home, bro. From there on, just keep moving forward, keep thinking forward. Regardless, even if you have the Book of Eli thing, right? We just moving around through the spirit. There's a 99% chance, man, you're not coming back to your house. So all these things, you gotta let those things, you gotta prepare to let these things go. All right. So verse 73, then shall be known who are my chosen. All right. So yeah, then shall be no who am I chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. So yeah, the Lord is gonna, in the midst of all that chaos, the Lord is gonna find a way to protect His elect. How do we know that? How we just know it's faith. All right, we know He has the power to do it, and He said He will do it. Now, some of the elect are gonna have to face the blade. It is what it is, but for the majority, it's gonna be protection. It's gonna be a rough road because you're gonna be tried. All right, you're gonna be tried, like as gold in the fire. Hear ye, my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. All right, so the Yahawah is going to guide us through the chaos. All right, so that's very important that we remember that. No, this lesson is not about just doom and gloom. It's also realizing that the Lord is going to be with us every step of the way. So when He's with us, what we're going to do is continue to do what we do, but just in a different format, right? Revelation 16 and 13, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So we know what that is, the 3 cardinal points of power of Esau. You know what I'm saying? You have, of course, you have DC, London, and the Vatican. That's how Esau's running his shit. Those 3 cardinal points of power. For 16, 14, it says, for they are the spirits of devil working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to battle of that great day of the Almighty. So the nations of being what? It's through those cardinal points. Esau's pushing his propaganda, his lies, his deception, all this crazy shit, starting up wars, messing with the minds of the people, trying to cover his sins, hiding his pedophilia, continue to come up with laws to oppress Israel, right? It's all being done through those cardinal points. All right. DC is the gulag. That's why I said DC. Well, DC, which is in Babylon. Babylon is the gulag, man, for Israel. Verse 15, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So what does that mean? It means when all hell breaks loose, even if you're in the gulag, you have to keep your garments. What does that mean to keep your garments? It means keep pushing the truth. The Lord is going to set us up. He's not going to just put you in gulags for no reason. It's because you're supposed to meet people in those gulags and continue to teach. The teaching is never going to stop until, it stops, until Yahawashi show up. The Lord is always going to be moving brothers and meeting other elect to teach in certain situations. So the Lord is not just going to put you in a gulag just because. There's something that you need to, that needs to be done while you're in there. Just read it, Peter and Paul, all these stories. Like, that's how the Lord moves. Some people are not supposed to get this until the 11th hour, to the last minute, till they've lost everything, right? So some Israelites, some elect are still holding on to a lot of this bullshit. Their jobs, their house, their women, They're still playing those games, right? Playing boyfriends, playing husbands and wives. They're not taking this thing seriously. Although they hear the word, they're like, yeah, whatever. So you're gonna meet them in the gulag, and they will have nothing. They'll be devastated. That means they're broken down and they're ready, and their hearts are ready to listen. All right. Some jakes are gonna have to just go through that, and our job is to keep our garments and preach His word. And in that moment, even in the gulag, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garment, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Verse 16, and he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So that's gonna, while we in the gulag, that's when all hell, is gonna break loose. Because the Lord has always done that. Once you start capturing His men, that's when you hear about these massive earthquakes. We just read the stories of Peter and Paul. And like every time you start capturing the men of Israel and all that, all hell starts to break loose, earthquakes. Crazy tempests and all kinds of wild shit stuff. Because the Lord is angry. When the Lord is angry, He's gonna let humanity know by having disasters of biblical proportions, right? So that's the lesson that I had for time. I had to be at the plantation, so I'm pretty sure I hit what I needed to hit through the Spirit. But yeah, just shifting the mind, man, in preparation for what's ahead. And like I said, the gulag thing, man, it's a real thing. So I know you brothers had beautiful precepts, man, in the common board, man. I wish I could just hop on them, but I do have to get ready to go to the plantation. So hopefully you were edified with this lesson as well as I was through the Spirit and power of Yahawah, Shem, Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Qadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom and salutation to all you sincere Akim. Of course, the four winds, but it's truth and sincerity of heart. Because I'm